My home has beautiful eyes, the cutest nose, the prettiest smile. My home, like starry nights, is short in height and sometimes bites. My home has got a couple windows to my soul. My home somehow makes me feel so whole. My home.
오늘 의상에 대해 설명 좀 해주시죠.
오늘 의상이 꽃이 두 개입니다.
이게 설마 꽃 하나가요? 이게 좀 준비했어요. 이게 꽃 두 개였어요.
My home, you're my home. You're the one who makes me feel like a child. You're the one who always makes me smile. My home, you're my home. I won't let you go.
꽃이랍니다.
I feel so safe. No worries now. You are my home. Do you even know? 'Cause when I fall, you catch me somehow. I'll give my all. I'll love you real loud. My home will ever be a place. My home has the most beautiful face. My home.
오야 꽃미남
You're
괜찮지?
my
야
home. You're the one who makes me feel like a child. You're the one who always makes me smile. My home. You're my home. I won't let you. My home. My home. My home. You're my home. My home. My home. I love you real loud. My home will ever be a place. My home has the most beautiful face. My home. You're my home. You're the one who makes me feel like a child. You're the one who always makes me smile. My home. You're my home. I won't let you. My home. My home. My home. You're my home. My home. My home. My home has beautiful eyes, the cutest nose, the prettiest smile. My home, like starry nights, is short in height and sometimes bites. My home has got a couple windows to my soul. My home somehow makes me feel so whole. My home feels like gold. My home will ever be a place. My home has the most beautiful face. My home, you're my home. You're the one who makes me feel like a child. You're the one who always makes me smile. My home, you're my home. I won't let you go. I feel so safe. No worries now. You are my home. Do you even know? 'Cause when I fall, you catch me somehow. I'll give my all. I'll love you real loud. My home will ever be a place. My home has the most beautiful face. My home. You're my home. You're the one who makes me feel like a child. You're the one who always makes me smile. My home. You're my home. I won't let you. My home. My home. My home. You're my home. My home. My home. I love you real loud. my home. You're my home. You're the one who makes me feel like a child. You're the one who always makes me smile. My home. You're my home. You're the one who makes me feel like a child. You're the one who always makes me smile. My home. You're my home. I won't let you go. I feel so safe. No worries now. You are my home. Do you even know? 'Cause when I fall, you catch me somehow. I'll give my all. I'll love you real loud. My home will ever be a place. My home has the most beautiful face. My home. You're my home. You're the one who makes me feel like a child. You're the one who always makes me smile. My home. You're my home. You're the one who makes me feel like a child. You're the one who always makes me smile. My home. You're my home. I won't let you go. I feel so safe. No worries now. You are my home. Do you even know? 'Cause when I fall, you catch me somehow. I'll give my all. I'll love you real loud. My home will ever be a place. My home has the most beautiful face. My home. You're my home. You're the one who makes me feel like a child. You're the one who always makes me smile. My home. You're my home. I won't let you
I wanna give you what you like, everything you fantasize. For one moment with you, girl. I want all the lovey-dovey sex. You rent out with the lovey-dovey sex. With you, I want it all. Girl, you are a winner. When I take you around the globe, from the summer to the winter. When I be around you, won't you give me a call? I wanna drive all night. Wanna take your private jet to the sunny mountains. Wanna make you smile. With you, I want it all. You got it, got it, got it all. Your body to your smile, want you to my own.
진영 갔어. 야, 진영 진짜. 와, 이 형은 팀장이. 야, 정말. 진영이 완전. 야, 이거. 야, 진영 안 되는데. 어떡하냐 이거.
And I just got to let you know. Come and bring it in, 'cause I want it all. You got it all. And I just got to let you know.
진짜 버린다고 지금 우리 지금 카메라 앞에 다시 왔는데.
여러분들 사랑해요. 저는 제 마음속에 남이 여러분들밖에 없습니다.
야, 너무합니다, 형.
Got it all. Just got to let you know.
I was all alone before I met you. Heartbroken, all up in my chest, and had me thinking, damn, all I really needed was some glue. But then you came and caught my eye. One night stand to a 1 week ride, oh my. Now you got me thinking, damn, all I really need is you. Yeah.
You got it, got it, got it all. Your body to your smile, want you to my own. And I just had to let you know. Come and bring it in, 'cause I want it all. You got it all. And I just had to let you know. Got it all. And I just had to let you know.
僕の宝物です。アミの 小すり指は僕のもの。こっちおいで。
Ride, oh my, now you got me thinking, damn, all I really need is you.
すいません。胸キュン。すいません。大丈夫？
Talk about the spring, cause I really want it all. Talk another diamond rings. Hey,
화려했다고 하면
whether the weather be the
얼굴이
November,
화려했다고
December,
밖에는 뭐
together,
설명할 수도 없네요. 아 이거 다 마이크 통해서 멤버들이 듣고 있어서 민망하긴 하네요. 네.
Got it all. Your body to your smile, want you to my own. And I just had to let you know. Call me, bring it, 'cause I want it all. I want it. You got it all. And I just had to let you know. You got it all. And I just had to let you know. Give you what you like, everything you fantasize.
부탁드립니다라고
For
하네요.
one moment with you, girl. I want all the lovey-dovey sex. You rent out with the lovey-dovey sex. With you, I want it all. Girl, you are a winner when I take you around the globe. From the summer to the winter, when I be around you, won't you give me a call?
한다는데요.
I wanna drive all night, wanna take your private jet to the sunny mountains. Wanna make you smile with you, I want it all.
빨리 구경하고.
You got it all. Your body to your smile, want you to my own. And I just had to let you know. Come and bring it here, 'cause I want it all. I want it. You got it all. And I just had to let you know. Got it all.
I was all alone before I met you. Heartbroken, all up in my chest.
ラッキーな日でいいですね。
いいですいいです
日ですね。ラッキーな日ですね。僕たち7人、そして今日は7月7日、ラッキーセブンだ。
Got it all. Your body to your smile, want you to
それ
my
に
own.
今日は七夕の日七夕の日
And I just had to let you know. Call me, bring it here, 'cause I want it all. I want it. You got it all. And I just had to let you know. You got it all. Your body to your smile, want you to let you know. You got it all. And I just had to let you know. Got it all. Just had to let you know.
I was all alone before I met you. Heartbroken, all up in my chest. Had me thinking, damn, all I really needed was some glue.
七夕の日
But then you came and caught my eye. One night stand to a 1 week ride. Oh my, now you got me thinking, damn, all I really need is you.
I want all the lovey-dovey sex. You rent out with the lovey-dovey sex. With you, I want it all.
七夕の日やっと会えたね僕のオリメ
I wanna drive all night, wanna take your private jet to the sunny mountains. Wanna make you smile with you, I want it all. You got it all. Your body to your smile, want
우선
you
글자로
to my
표현한다면
own.
아미는 내 꼬?
And I just had to let you know. Come and bring it here, 'cause I want it all.
보라해. 이게 뭔데? 보라해가 뭔데?
보라의 설명 좀 해주세요.
사랑해?
Body to your smile, want you to my own. And I just had to let you know.
그렇지 같이 부르는데 말 돼요 오케이 좋아요 자 하나 둘 셋
샵 보라해.
Just had to let you know. Got it all. Just had
아미도 사랑하고요. 네, 저희 회사 식구분들도 너무 사랑합니다. 가족들.
네. 아 우리 B 씨가 정말 많이 사랑한다고 했는데 일단
got it up. And I just had to let you know it all.
Queen.
Got it, got it, got it.